welcome everyone. Episode 30 is now underway. And for those of you who are relatively new to us, this all started when the pandemic first hit way back in March. And as you guys know, who've been here from the beginning, we're a club that traditionally meets in person. And the energy that happens in an in-person meeting versus on camera is completely different. So when we started out, we weren't sure if this was going to work, but after having 30 episodes under our belt, I think we've all come to the conclusion on the leadership team that it's definitely something that works, and that although it has its drawbacks, it has some real strengths as well. And the strengths come from the fact that you guys can join us and we can be together from anywhere around the world. We can also then interact with each other on camera in ways that we've never been able to do before. So for us, what we're trying to do is to create a platform where the more people we get in the audience, the easier it is to get feedback and be interactive. And so for those of you who are sitting on the sidelines and have just joined us and who have not maybe signed up for a role in recent times, please feel free to start doing that now. Hop in there. Don't wait for us to ask you. Just take the initiative and hop in, sign up for a speech, sign up for the roles. This is the way we make it interactive, is if you guys take it upon yourself to say, I'm going to get involved. Otherwise, it becomes a show where a show like any traditional show where it's a handful of people and the rest of the folks are watching. That's not why this whole stage was built. The stage was built to be shared. So I encourage everyone to hop in there, sign up, and even for table topics, if you want to sign up for table topics in advance the week before, feel free to do so. What we're really trying to do is to get our calendar pre-booked so that the slots are filled up before each show. We can do it while you guys come in late, but it's harder on everybody. And so it's really beneficial for us on the leadership team if you guys sign up in advance. So I highly encourage you to do that. And that's why you paid your hard-earned money anyway. So that's why you're here. Okay, with that said, we are now knee-deep into our curriculum. We've got 2 speeches tonight. The first is going to be with Devika, and she's giving her 3rd speech. Well, let's get right into that. And as you know, with the 3rd speech, we've had a few 3rd speeches tonight are already in place. But the 3rd speech is the speech that says, get to the point. There we go. And so the get to the point speech is the 3rd speech for a reason. The first speeches are icebreaker, as you guys know. The second speech is organizer speech. And then the 3rd speech is get to the point. And this speech is critically important because at the end of the day, it's the reason why we're listening. So let me get Devika on the screen for us. Devika, are you there? Welcome.
Hi, Henry. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but I hope I do well.
Good. We want the nervousness. And as I said, for the 3rd speech, it's about getting to the point. And it's really about answering the question, why should we as an audience listen to you? And let me take a moment here, just because I know that we've got some new members here who maybe haven't heard about why it's so important to talk about public speaking in the context of strangers. When we're talking to friends or family, it really doesn't matter what our point is. In many ways, once somebody becomes somebody we know, there is an inherent obligation that says, oh, because I'm a friend of yours or because I'm family, I'm going to listen. It may take me a while to figure out what you're trying to say to me, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because I want to listen. You're a friend or somebody that I care about. When you're a stranger, though, we don't get the benefit of that doubt. And in fact, when we're talking to strangers, the opposite happens. If you're walking on the street and a stranger comes up to you, our first reaction is not, hey, how are you? It is, what do you want from me? You're a stranger. And so when we talk to people we don't know, the defense mechanisms go up right away. And our initial reaction is, why are you talking to me? I don't know you. And to get to the point, the third speech is meant to be able to get past that defensiveness for an audience so that they go, oh, I know why I should listen to you. This makes sense to me. And so for us as an audience, we're going to be evaluating Devika's speech on that. At the end of her speech, we're all going to have our ability to give her feedback. In particular for this third speech, tell her whether you thought you understood why we should listen to her, how long it took for us to get there, and whether it was worthwhile listening. So that's the hurdle of the third speech, a very high bar. And that's why it comes after the first two speeches, which is you've got to tell us why we should listen. That's the third speech. Okay? So with that being said, hopefully I didn't create too many more nerves for you. But you got 4 minutes on the clock, as is traditional. I'll let you take it away.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Today, I wish to talk about the platform that brings us all together every Friday evening, the Toastmasters. Most of us know that this is an international club where you can develop and hone your public speaking skills. But how many of you know that an equally important track runs alongside the communication track in Toastmasters? Today, for my third project in Competent Communication Manual, I wish to talk about the leadership track that will help you understand the reason why leadership and communication often go hand in hand, the qualities that define a good leader, and how Toastmasters can help you in your journey to become not only a great orator, but an even greater leader. As we know, leadership is the ability to convince people to help to believe in a cause, whether the cause be political, social, or commercial. The leader should first be able to present with absolute clarity as to what he considers is the best goal for everyone, and then proceed to lay out a roadmap for achieving that goal. Enter the art of public speaking. Most great leaders have a communication style that is unique to them, and a leadership style developed over time through a variety of experiences. Great leaders tend to motivate, inspire, and encourage those they lead to better themselves and the people around them. How do they do it? They have many common attributes, some of which I will list now below. One, knowledge. An in depth knowledge and still deeper understanding of the subject matter involved is the first sine qua non of a good leader. Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook articulated this aptly when she said, we cannot change what we are not aware of. And once we are aware, we cannot help but change. Number two, integrity. Absolute steadfastness reinforces the people's faith in their leader and their belief in the common goal. Nelson Mandela kept his people's hopes alive by not capitulating to the oppressive regime of apartheid for over 2 decades, only to emerge triumphant. Number three, courage. The frail looking Aung San Suu Kyi of Burma defied the repressive military regime without fear of her personal safety for almost 2 decades. This should inspire one and all not to give in when the going gets tough. Number four, and most important quality that binds all the above qualities is, as you guessed it, communication. To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world and use this understanding as a guide to lead others. Toastmasters is one such unique platform that gives each and every one of us the opportunity to develop not just the art of public speaking, but all these great qualities in order to become a great leader. Through the Toastmasters leadership track, you can learn to identify your natural leadership style and behaviors and understand how these impact those whom you lead and put it to good use by developing the art of public speaking. Today, I urge each and every one of you to take up more leadership roles in our club meetings like Table Topic Masters, Timer, Grammarian, and many others. Take help of older fellow Toastmasters who have been here since a long time and have benefited themselves in all aspects of their lives, becoming better speakers and leaders. Let go of your hesitations, fear of being judged, and discover your true potential. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, for I have a dream that leaders are not born, they are made, right here on this great platform of Toastmasters. Thank you.
Devika, that was fantastic. I think we're going to use that as our testimonial video up front on YouTube. That was such a great speech. I loved it.
Thank you.
So great job. Let's get our audience evaluation going. So if everyone would take a look at the chat, John's going to put a link in there for everyone to do the evaluation for Devika as we listen to her favorite songs from the Backstreet Boys. 2 minutes on the clock. Next, we've got our evaluator for the evening, Rob Price, a longtime member and having gone from somebody who was new to the Toastmasters thing has become kind of a quick veteran. So I'm looking forward to his evaluation for Devika. Let's get Rob on the screen. Rob, welcome back to episode 30. How are you? I think we may have you on mute. I don't know. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Not much of a veteran. I haven't figured out the mute thing.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I know that Devika is in good hands with you, despite the fact you don't know how to use the mute button. So I'm going to let you take it away as usual. It's a 3-minute evaluation for Devika. Let me get her on the screen for us, and then you guys can take it away.
Hey, Devika. Oh my gosh. That was my favorite speech of yours by far.
Thank you.
So I guess definitely a big happy birthday and a huge congratulations. It's not just a good speech in terms of how you structured it and the content of it, but its relevance for the audience and me. And I will share a little secret with everyone here. I'm also a new leader on the leadership team with Devika. I think we joined exactly at the same time. And we've had these conversations as we've been on the leadership team about how do we start to bring more people involved and get people more engaged. And I'm so blown away by Devika using her third speech to be a rallying cry for that and to really advocate for the role of public speaking and all of us in this community playing these leadership roles and stepping up and living to our full potential. And the way she broke it down was fantastic. She talked about acquiring knowledge, the commitment. The Nelson Mandela example is just not just a testament to what he's accomplished, but also what he did before he accomplished that was just a sense of his commitment and also courage as well. And then using communication with all of those skills as just a way to amplify and really kind of get to the next level with leadership is just music to my ears. Just since I've joined this program, I've been so much more aware of all the benefits of communication and public speaking and really making that connection with our audience and clearly communicating. And I think that Devika, you did a wonderful job with bringing in some of those points of levity. The Shakespeare Julius Caesar quote at the end was a great way to end it and just kind of kept it on a high note and just reminded me that there's more that I could do, not just in Toastmasters, but these other facets of my life where I could bring in the knowledge, the commitment and courage and use communication as that vehicle to get to the next level. So I think it was a fantastic speech overall. I love the content. I don't have much criticism, and I will give you one little advice, but I noticed myself doing this, but reading notes or those reference points. And what I think it does is it slows down a little bit of the speech energy. And I think that's something that's just a little thing that you could continue to work on, but I think it's something we all have the potential to work on. So again, congratulations. I'm so excited for the fourth speech. This was just blew my mind. So thank you, Devika.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thanks.
Great job on that, Rob. And just let me point out real quickly, since this is all about feedback for us all, you know, I think that one of the things that I always appreciate about your, when you come on camera is your eye contact. I'm still working on the whole camera thing, but there's a reason why I think something about your visual where you have good eye contact and it's up close is really appealing. So
I just shoved my face up against the laptop.
And I think that's my point is that what may feel uncomfortable and awkward for us behind the camera, on camera looks very different. And that's the part I guess we're trying to figure out how to do, because again, you don't know until you're on the other side of it. So I just wanted to say that, you know, being up close like that has a really nice appeal to it.
Yeah, the trick is just have your nose touch the laptop screen and you guys are good.
There you go, tip 101. All right, with that said, let's get into our next segment. And that's going to be with our next speaker, Sean. By the way, the question of the day is your favorite breakfast food. So pop that into the gift channel and we'll see you as soon as we get reset. Okay, our next speaker for the evening is Sean. Sean has been with the club for a very long time. This, of course, is way before the pandemic hit us all. And people who are longtime members of the club know that I always say this. Sean is the reason why I'm a member of this club. When I first joined, I was like everyone else going, what the heck have I got myself into? It's a really hard thing to walk into a room full of strangers because you just have no idea what the energy is going to be like, what the people are going to be like, what the whole setup is going to be like. And so the fact that you guys have done that, I'm always amazed by, because I remember what that feeling is. And the thing that got me past it all was Sean. And it was Sean's courage and authenticity, probably is more important a word for him, where he's always had the ability to say, look, I have a stutter. He's always been honest about his handicap, but he's been able to take it in a way that has turned it a handicap into a strength. And he does it by being completely honest and open about it. And for me, that's always been the trick of this, is that we're trying to raise the bar of anxiety and fear, and then asking you to be as vulnerable as possible. And understanding that the more vulnerable you are on the bigger stage, that on the biggest stages that you get, is what allows you to connect with that audience. And so that's why Sean, for me, has always been my idol in public speaking, is because every time he comes up, he's able to very quickly say, look, I've got a stutter, I have a speech impediment, and it immediately puts everybody at ease and says, oh, I got it. And so that's, I think, the key for every one of us. And I use him as our guide to say, the more vulnerable we can be, the more honest we can be about our insecurities, our flaws with the audience, that's the way you connect with the audience. But it takes the courage, right? The fear and the anxiety is telling us, do not tell people this. Do not reveal these insecurities. But in doing so, you get the audience on your side, and that's the liberating part of this whole experience. That's the adrenaline rush I talked about. I promise you, the more vulnerable and authentic and honest you are in this, after you're done with that speech, the greater the adrenaline high. The more you're going to go, that was great. I can't wait and do that again. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to Sean. Sean's doing a speech outside of the curriculum that we have. So for those of you who are at your cap level fourth speech, we're opening it back up to say, if you would like to do something in addition, feel free to. Again, we're going to try to get our speeches and roles filled up pre-meeting so that the calendar's filled. Okay, with that said, so Sean's going to give his speech outside the curriculum that we have. And therefore we don't have an evaluator for him, but we are still going to do the audience evaluation. So let me turn it over to Sean. Sean, are you there? Welcome back, Sean.
Hey, I'm here.
I'm looking forward to this speech. You know the rules. It's 4 minutes on the clock. With that said, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Thank you, Henry, for that kind intro. Sean Japal speaking. Good evening to NVL and all of our esteemed guests who are on the call. I guess I'll start off by saying that this isn't a formal speech, but this is the first time I'm giving a speech per se within the NVL platform, and it took me 30 episodes to get to this point. I just wanted to say a few words because yesterday the stuttering community celebrated ISAD 2020, and ISAD is an acronym for International Stuttering Awareness Day. And since we have such a great and supportive audience on YouTube, I thought I would leverage our platform and say something to, say something to anyone out there who hasn't found their speaking voice yet, fluent or disfluent speaker. I talk differently than you do. I feel the need to hide it instead of accepting the challenge of fighting it. There is an inherent sense of failure, loss of confidence, and a feeling of inferiority. Is stuttering purely physical? It isn't. It is a multifaceted form of trauma that includes physiological responses, beliefs, and intentions. None of these elements actually restrict airflow. Rather, it's their interactions that give life to stuttering behavior. At an early age, I felt terrible about who I was, and this entrenched itself into my persona. As a person who stutters, I built up a self image of who I am. I associated my unique voice with shame and embarrassment I've experienced over the years. The moment you are willing to give up your old persona, you will find there are incredible opportunities for change. Perhaps there is no better way to cope with difficult challenges in life than feeling secure about who we are. Seeking more control or power is a response to fear. Like the steely determination of the samurai, practicing discipline is the path of transforming our fear into acceptance. The discipline comes in the form of pushing out of our comfort zones and not avoiding difficult sounds, words, or speaking situations. I have a stutter. I am a toastmaster. This is who I am. The worm has turned, and I constantly remind myself of the successes that I enjoy on a daily basis. Because of my handicap, I practice. And because of that, today I speak, and the entire world listens. Thank you.
Sean, once again, you knocked it out of the park. Great job on that. And as I said, I mean it every time I say it. You are the reason why I'm here. If it weren't for you, I don't know that I'd be at this club. Your courage and not only just the courage, Sean, your ability as a speaker is phenomenal. It was well organized, easily followed along. So if we could all be as good a speaker as you, we are all in good shape. So thanks for that. All right, so let's get our audience out there to give us our evaluation. Sean, would you mind putting in the evaluation link one more time? And we'll listen to Sean's favorite song, which I've not heard before. It's what is Counting Numbers. Is that right, Sean?
It's called Counting Stars.
Counting Stars. That's right. I'm sorry. All right, so 2 minutes on the clock for everyone. Give Sean your evaluation, please. Okay, as I said, we're not going to have an evaluation for Sean tonight, but I did notice on our table topics list that we are have a few spots left. So Sean, would you mind putting in the chat one more time the table topics link for folks to sign up on? We have 5 spots available. And again, for those of you who are out there in the audience, first time members, new members, this is why you came. Sign up on the table topics list. I think people are a little spooked by the scary story topic. Oh, and by the way, so another thing, as we're waiting for people to sign up, the other part about table topics is to always remember is you never have to answer the question. If you wanted to talk about something else besides the question, that is always an option. So don't feel like you're obligated to answer the question. It's really just the time for you to get up and take 2 minutes to speak to an audience. So if you don't have a spooky story, talk about your spooky friend or your scary cousin or whoever it is that you don't really like. All right, with that said, let us get back into the question of the day and then reset for table topics. And post your favorite breakfast food in the GIF one more time, or in the support channel one more time, and then we'll be right back for table topics in a moment. All right, as I said, tonight's table topic master is Colleen, a relatively new member for us, but she definitely knows the ropes and has sped through all the speeches and has taken on all the roles. So looking forward to hearing her as table topic master. And as you can see, we've got a couple slots left. So why don't you guys hop in there and fill those out, and we'll get Colleen on the screen for us.
All right.
Colleen, welcome to episode 30. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good to see you. And so I'll let you take it away for Table Topics Master. You'll get about a minute or two to kind of explain to the audience your theme. And then that'll give some people some time to sign up as well. And then we'll get started with Rob's table topic. Okay, so take it away. It's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Jeneil. So first off, I'd like to give a big thank you to Sean and Devika for your speeches earlier on today. I think both of our members shared very authentic, vulnerable stories. And I think the more authentic and vulnerable, the more compelling a lot of times your speeches are. And I was completely drawn in on both of those. So I hope that everybody else on the line feels inspired by the stories that they both shared, and we'll bring that to your table topics as well. So for today, as Henry mentioned, the table topic that I chose was spooky. So tell us a scary tale, not a fairy tale, but a scary tale. So a little bit about me. I absolutely love seasons and holidays, and especially moving to New York and having proper seasons. I feel like it gives you something to look forward to. So at the end of summer, you're at the end of kind of a long, hot summer, you're looking forward to fall. At the end of winter, you're looking forward to summer, right? So it always kind of gives you the next thing to look forward to and excited about what's to come. So right now the leaves are changing. There's a crisp snap in the air, and one of my favorite holidays is coming up, which is Halloween. I think especially in this time of uncertainty, it's exciting to have something familiar to look forward to. even though we're not exactly sure what capacity that's going to be, I love getting festive, and so I hope that you guys will share a scary tale with us, and I don't want to drive people away if you can't think of something scary to share. I invite you just to also sign up and maybe just share about your favorite holiday, whether it be Halloween or another one. So looking forward to all of the different table topic speakers today. And one of the things that inspired me earlier on in our session today was Kaylee's story about her impromptu speech. So I'm going to challenge everybody to be kind of a little caught off guard, ready to go at any point in time. So I'm not going to go in order of the table topics. So I hope I don't spook anybody by going out of order, but we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's start off with D. Is that Dr. D? All right.
D, we may have you on mute.
I was just busy signing up. Are you telling me that I'm first? I thought
Well, I know. So I was trying to kind of switch it up a little bit and kind of allow everybody to practice some impromptu speeches, but by all means, you do not have to go first. I don't want to catch you too far off guard. So why don't so Dee, if you'd prefer, how about I'll come back to you, and I'll catch somebody else off guard if you would
I
prefer.
have nothing against impromptu. I've done
Okay.
a million impromptus in my life. I just didn't know you were talking to me even.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Okay,
Okay.
so what is the subject? Tell a scary tale.
Yes, a scary tale.
I'll be happy to tell a scary tale. I'd just like to be able to be on this. I have this whole thing. You see, I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing. That's what's causing. Okay, how about now? Perfect. A scary tale. This is not as scary as it could be, but it's scary enough. What happened is there was a funeral in Jamaica. I have a feeling I said this before. There was a funeral in Jamaica, and someone was videotaping the funeral. And during the funeral, they saw the person who had died come in to attend his own funeral. Now, you don't have to believe this. This is not a belief system. This is what happened. So during this entire thing, people saw this man dancing at his own funeral. And they didn't make it up. It was on videotape and it was no tricks. Now, if that's not scary, then, you know, it doesn't have to be scary. The issue is, do you even believe it? Some people just dismiss stuff like that. Well, this actually happened. And duppy is the word Jamaican people use for ghost. So they put it out on the web as Duppy attends his own funeral. How do you like that? Would you like to attend your own funeral? Bless you.
All right, thanks, Dr. D. I appreciated that. Very spooky tale. I love that. That absolutely got me in the Halloween spirit, and I appreciate you being so impromptu with your spooky tale. That actually reminds me. What was that?
Would you like to attend your own funeral?
I think I would, you know.
Okay.
I think, well, yeah, I definitely think I would. I would hopefully people would have a lot of nice things to say about me, so I'd love to tune in. And I would definitely be dancing too, so I love that. Yeah, that actually I like that the mental image, especially of kind of dancing over all of the different in the graveyard. Just last weekend I actually went to Greenwood Cemetery. I don't know if any of you guys live out in Brooklyn. I think we do have some Brooklynites on the phone, and if you haven't already been, it's absolutely spectacular. There's some it's beautiful, and then it's also just a fun place to go, especially around this time. So thanks, Dr. D. All right, so with that, the next person up will be Jeneil. Ready for an impromptu call out, hopefully.
Good evening, Colleen. How are you?
Great.
This is a great subject. Thanks for having me. I have a fairly spooky tale, and it's maybe not along the line of what we normally think of as scary, but in these times, I think it definitely counts as scary. So I have a friend who is in the US State Department, a Foreign Service officer, and he was stationed in Chengdu, China at the US Embassy until very recently. However, this year in Houston, the Chinese consulate was accused of burning documents, burning some kind of state secrets or something. I'm not clear on all the details, but there was a fire at the Chinese consulate in Houston. So the Trump administration closed down that consulate. And in retaliation, China closed down the US Embassy in Beijing, leaving my friend without a post. And he has since returned to the United States. He's currently in Washington, D.C. And I read in the New York Times the other day this article about State Department officials who have come down with these mysterious illnesses and symptoms, and they're stationed at various places around the world, but specifically it seems to be countries that are opposite in ideology, such as China. We don't have an embassy in Cuba, but people who had somehow with the State Department been working in Cuba, I believe. I didn't really take a very close look at the article, but I did send it to my friend that I mentioned. And he said, yeah, I know, it's wild. And I felt like saying to him, just for one day right now, I would like to go to a planet where there are no conspiracies. Just one day, just give me one day, maybe 5 hours. I'd love that. I just feel like I'm being gaslit all the time with the state of our media and the state of our politics, and these are scary times. So bravo to everyone for showing up and getting through it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeneil. And hopefully I'm not am I butchering your name? Is it Jeneil?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thanks for sharing that. That was certainly a spooky tale, and definitely one. I think that example is something that's certainly front of mind for all of us right now with COVID. You know, I think just in general, it's tough to trust what you hear on the news. It's tough to trust kind of, you know, what you're seeing in the media. And so I think that definitely adds another layer of anxiety and fear, and unfortunately, but yeah, that's a wild story about your friend, and I appreciated how you definitely kind of took us through the entire story. You used the full, I believe, 2.5 minutes. So great job, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, I'm going to call on Rob Price. Let's hear it.
There's the mute button. See, I did it. Hi, Colleen. Thank you. This is such a fun topic.
Absolutely.
Should I go?
Oh, yeah, please. Sorry. Maybe I need to work on my intros here. Let's hear
So,
it.
when I was thinking about scary stories, I hate scary stories. I can't watch scary movies, and really, it's not something I'm a fan of. But I was thinking about scary stories, and just kept going to the place of these fun stories that came about. And so it was a beautiful day, probably 2006, 2007. I was in Long Island, very sunny, not a cloud in the skies. And I was hundreds of miles up in the sky and jumping out, like just in my chest beating. And the wind was like pushing against my face. And I was skydiving for the first time. And was in a state of numbness in the plane ride up before jumping out of this plane to skydive, and didn't really hit me until I was actually jumping out that I'm like, what am I doing? What is wrong with me? But about a quarter of the way down, there's just this sort of like, okay, fuck it. What else could go wrong at this point? Might as well enjoy it. And fell and just, was in this state of joy and bliss, and landed. A lot of fun. I haven't done it since, but the thing about it that I found really interesting and kind of scary is that it was such a thrill. Uh-oh. I guess I never landed. I was just frozen. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob. I love that story. I've always thought about if I would ever go bungee jumping or skydiving, and I pretty much still convinced that you could not pay me enough money to jump out of a plane. So I definitely admire you kind of conquering your fears. And it actually it reminds me a lot of what we're all doing here today, right? So we're all, I speaking for myself, I certainly have a fear of public speaking, and it's interesting once you kind of kick it off, or once you jump out of the plane, there's a certain point where you're out there, you're talking, and what happens, and you just kind of have to think positive and know that it'll go well. So I love that. I love that story. Hopefully you made it. It seems like you made it to the ground eventually. So that's also reassuring.
You all will never know.
We will never know. That's so true. All right, well, thanks for sharing. Okay, so next up, again, going out of order so that I hope to spook you guys. Let's hear from Amy, one of our newest members. Oh, I spooked her so she left. Oh no, okay, good. She's back.
Hi, I'm here. Just needed to get my box so I can stand while I tell my story.
Oh, good.
Okay. So my husband and I were camping in Mendocino up in the Northern California coast. And when we were getting our supplies at the grocery store before we set up our campsite, we saw one of those very sad posters for a missing young girl, teenager, had gone missing about a week prior. We're setting up our tent, and I notice what a stick and some dug up dirt right behind where I was going to set up our tent. And it looked kind of like a grave site. It was the size of a grave site, dug up wood and made out of sticks that they had carved into it. Said, "Fuck me." Not sure if I'm allowed to swear, and it really just chilled me to the bones. It was before cell phones. So we went to the payphone at the campsite, called 911, told them what we saw. They sent a sheriff. They brought 3 cars, shovels, dug it up. We were standing by the side, just feeling sick inside. They found a bunch of trash, liquor bottles, beer cans inside. So obviously it was just a prank. Everybody was so relieved. We went ahead, set up our tent, had a nice dinner, but still feeling a little bit queasy about the experience. It put a little bit of a damper on the campsite that we had chosen. And in the middle of the night, we suddenly started hearing, I heard them first before I woke my husband, footsteps. One, and then another, crunching the leaves. It was the middle of the summer, a lot of dry leaves around. And I just got terrified. I thought, this is it. It was kind of a prank, but it was really a foreshadowing. And then I woke up my husband very gently. He got his pocket knife out of his jeans, which were stacked up in the tent, and was ready with the knife. And then all of a sudden we heard, and it was a deer or some kind of animal running away. And I've never been so terrified in my life. I was ready to die. I had given over to it, and this darn deer was just gaslighting us. So there we were. I must say, we decided to move on the next day.
Nice. Oh my gosh, Amy, that was a fantastic story. I loved how I was completely drawn in from the very beginning. I love how you took us through and really left us hanging and lots of suspense involved. So thank you. That was a great story. Oh my goodness. That reminds me, I'm with you, Rob. I don't like scary scary movies or anything like that, but I love thrillers, and I love like crime movies and crime series, and I am obsessed with Law and Order. So this story of just kind of like, you're going about your day you're going about a normal camping trip, and then dun dun, there's like a body or something like that is what that reminds me of. And I feel like whenever I'm in New York, like walking through Central Park, I'm always thinking about like approaching the entry of like a Law and Order show or something like that. So
yeah, much better up on the screen.
What's that?
I said it's much better when it's up on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. When you're not there in person. And I love how you described you gently woke up your husband when you heard the footsteps. I can say personally there would be no gentle waking up. I would be freaking out. So that's so funny. Thank you for sharing, Amy.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course. All right. So next up, we're gonna go with Alex.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics. Do you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Wonderful.
Take us away.
Wow. You don't want fairy stories, you want scary stories. And I have a couple. I don't know why that is, but I seem to be utterly blessed with spooky phenomena. What about poltergeists? Now, poltergeists are spirits. They often visit young women, 16-year-old women, about that time. My sister was 16. I was much younger than she. Previous to these events, there had been a bridge collapse where sadly some construction men had lost their lives, and it was a tragedy. It was very sad. But I guess that created the rift through which the spirits can travel. So a spirit traveled to our house. A spirit inhabited not any particular place in the rafters or whatever. The spirit, the poltergeist, inhabited our oil furnace of all places. And each morning at 6 o'clock, it went, ah! And scared the bejesus out of everybody. Well, not me, because as a young man, I would probably sleeping. However, certainly scared my father, my mother, my sisters. They were all just so frightened because it's 6:15. Ah! Well, my mother wouldn't have any of that. She's an Irish lady. And if you mess with Irish ladies when it comes to spiritualism, you better have another thing coming, whether you're a poltergeist, a sprite, an elf, whatever kind of spirit you be, you better watch out because the Irish have something. So the next time that damn thing happened and went, ah! My mother got a ball peen hammer and went, what, get out, get out, get out. And it went away. And we were never haunted by poltergeists ever again. Back to you.
Wow. Alex, that was fantastic. Oh my gosh. That shriek is certainly going to haunt my night terrors for a while. I loved it. You brought the drama and the energy. That was great. And speaking as an Irish woman, so fun fact, Colleen, if you look that up in the dictionary, actually means Irish girl. So don't mess with the Irish girl and her spirituality. I like that. Good shout out to us Irish girls. All right, thank you, Alex. That was absolutely fantastic. And I am certainly shaken up after that one. All right, so next up, let's hear from Jorge.
Hello?
Hey, Jorge. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
All right, take us away.
My favorite breakfast food is oatmeal with fruit, apples, strawberries, blueberries, pears, you name it, bananas. Going back to these scary stories, actually yesterday, I was on Prospect Park. And for those who are not familiar with or don't know, Prospect Park is a park in Brooklyn, New York. And why was it scary? Because it was 5 in the morning. And as the people who are in New York, you may have noticed lately it's been really foggy. And I had a flashlight. It wasn't a pretty good one, but I was able to see like 2 meters in front of me, maybe meter and a half. I don't know how many feet that is, but you couldn't see far. And I was on my bike. And I decided to go into the trees, right? Because you can go on the road and do your laps, whatever, on the park. But I decided to go into the trees. I don't know what I was thinking. And as I start to go in, it starts to get darker and darker. Right? You couldn't see far. And then I hear 2 men. I don't know if they were playing. I don't know if they were fighting, but they were like screaming, and there was like punching. Like I thought it was rocks throwing at each other. I don't know what it was. And I was really close, and I was hoping they wouldn't see me, but I had a flashlight on, and of course they saw me. They stopped, and I just kept going like nothing. And I and I keep going like maybe like 5 minutes into the trees. I don't know why I'm still going there. There is this light, and I'm thinking, oh, is this like a cliff? Am I gonna fall off the cliff? And this light is moving really fast, like down below. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I'm stop. I stop and keeps moving, and keeps coming to me. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And turns out to be a dog with a little light on his neck, right? And I'm like, whose dog is this? And turns out that there was someone with the dog. I'm like, this person doesn't have a flashlight or anything. I turned to my right and the person was standing right next to me and I fell off my bike. Anyway, I'm taking too long, but that's my scary story. Thank you.
Thanks, Jorge. That was certainly a very scary story. That was one definitely right out of a Law and Order episode. I love how you drew us in from the get-go. You set up the scene with the fog. I've been noticing that a lot recently with like looking out at the cityscape and you can barely even see the top of the buildings, and it's certainly spooky. And I love riding my bike in Prospect Park too. So I'll have to keep an eye out for you one of these days, and definitely keep an eye out for those Prospect Park cliffs.
Yeah, don't go into the trees.
Don't go into the cliffs. Okay.
Park and get a good flashlight if you do. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for him. Okay, so next up, let's go with Leah.
Hi.
Hey, Leah. All right, we can hear you. Perfect. Let's hear it.
So that story happened 4 summers ago. It was a warm summer night in the south of France. I was driving with my friends. We're driving back from a dinner. I have to say, everything that I'm gonna say is true, and we were sober. So we were driving back to my friend Angelique's house in the village next to the city. And Angelique was in the back listening to her music on her headphones, and my friend Melissa was driving, and I was in the passenger seat. And this is a road we used to take every day back and forth. And at some point on the road, I get so scared. I have a knot in my stomach, and for no reason, the weather was nice. No one was on the road. I turned to my friend who was driving, and I go, "Hey, please be careful while driving." And we drive home. Everything was quiet. We go to bed. My friend Angelique had this huge bed, so we all share the bed. And in the morning, I wake up. My friend Angelique wakes up, and she goes, "Oh gosh, I had these nightmares all night long. I was dreaming that something was trying to enter the room, the bedroom. And also last night when we were on the road, at this point, at this specific turn, I started to get so scared for no reason. And at the same time, we both said where we both got scared because there was like a statue or something. And we looked at each other and we realized we both got that strange feeling at the same time. And I get full body chills and I'm like, what the hell? And my friend Melissa wakes up and she's like, "Oh, I had this nightmare that a man on the road was trying to make us have an accident last night." And my friend Angelique and I, we look at her and we start panicking, like, what the hell happened? And we realized that maybe we brought a ghost home, a ghost that was on the road. And for a few days, we couldn't sleep well. We were really spooked out. And my friend Angelique calls this old family friend and she tells her everything. And this is a lady that had her fair share of ghosts in her life, and she tells us, okay, you need to go back to the road, the spot on the road where you found that ghost, and you need to say a prayer for the man. He's stuck on the road and he just grabbed onto you basically. And we went back a few days later and in broad daylight, of course, and like said a few words, like something like go into the light, something ridiculous like that, but it worked. But I will never mess with a ghost because that was really scary.
Thank you, Leah. That was certainly a very spooky tale, and it is kind of wild how our intuitions can kind of give away a lot, right? Like it's interesting how you and your friends are all having the same feelings at the same time, and that's really wild. It's crazy. Our minds are really crazy things, and so thank you very much for sharing. You did a great job. You really pulled us in right away and really took us through the story. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so I know. So Henry, what are you thinking? We have 2 additional people at the end. Do we have time to get to them? Should we try to squeeze them in, or what do you think?
I think we should, seeing as they're new members of ours. So yes, for sure.
Perfect. All right, so next up, let's hear from Tiana. Hey, Tiana.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. All right, we can hear you.
So I don't have a scary story. And I want to say that I don't really do Halloween because probably too much Law and Order and CSI. I feel like it's the opportunity for crazy people to do crazy things. So I don't really do Halloween too much. My husband and I got caught in the Halloween parade one year, but other than that, I really try to just stay home. So Colleen said that we could talk about our favorite holiday instead, right? So my favorite holiday is Christmas slash my birthday because my birthday is the day after Christmas. I kind of take Christmas also. Like I want to celebrate both Christmas and my birthday. And people will always ask me, I've heard that people who have birthdays near Christmas, they get jerked out of presents. Maybe, but most of the time, I tell people that my birthday and Christmas are two separate occasions and that my family has treated it as such forever. So, under my Christmas tree, there are pink presents that are for my birthday and then red presents that are for Christmas. And so, the way that I'm looking at it is that if my birthday is all the way at the end of the year, that means that you have the whole year to plan for it and save for it. So there should not be any excuses as to why I don't have Christmas and birthday presents.
I love that. Thanks, Tiana. Yeah, I always wondered about that too. If people who have their birthdays close to the holiday kind of feel gypped, but I'm glad that your family has always made it a point to make sure that you don't have the short end of the stick and you get to fully celebrate those two holidays. So that's great. Thanks
It's
for
not
sharing
my
that.
fault I was born on the 26th.
What was that?
It's not my fault I was born on the 26th.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Hopefully, I think Trey is your brother, right? So hopefully
He is my
he's
brother.
supportive of this tradition.
He definitely gives me presents for both Christmas and my birthday.
That's right. Better start saving now, Trey. Just kidding. All right, perfect. So next up, Trey, let's hear your tale.
All right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Should I?
There we go. You're all set.
There we go. All right. Perfect. So my story happened to me in college. So imagine, if you will, a situation where you're dating your college significant other and you get an apartment together. Right? So we signed the lease. We're super excited. Maybe about August, about a month before we were about to move into the apartment, we break up. Now, that is not the scary part of the story, but it is pretty horrific. Luckily, though, we were friends with each other. Everything was amicable. We did have a pretty killer apartment, complete with dishes and a dishwasher. So we didn't have to bring too many things, right? We did notice the dishwasher because it already had some dishes, had shot glasses in there, something about celebrating the anniversary of Janet and Bill or whatever the case may be. But I remember sitting in the living room one day, talking to her, and it being in the middle of a story when all of a sudden it just feels like there's a presence behind me. I'm mid-sentence and I just cut off, look behind me, don't see anything. She asked me what was going on. I tell her, well, it just felt like somebody was breathing on my neck, but I don't see anything. And she's like, all right, cool. Fast forward a few months later, she calls me up in hysterics. She's crying, just uncontrollably. And reason being is that she's saying, Trey, I just got out of the shower. She's in the apartment, but I was at home for holiday break. She decided to stay in the house. So she's there by herself, calls me up in hysterics, just saying, Trey, I just saw somebody standing in the doorway of our house. He was in the living room. He just gets up out of the doorway, heads into the kitchen. I ran into the bedroom and locked the door. I have no idea who this is, but I swear that it was a ghost. And being the comforting, amazing boyfriend that I was, assured her that ghosts can travel through walls and that locking the door would do nothing. That was it. That's my story.
That's amazing. Thanks, Trey. Man, that was definitely a scary story on all ends. But I wonder if that was just her way of getting out of an awkward situation of kind of bringing around a new boyfriend in the ex-boyfriend's old apartment. Hopefully not, but man, that is very scary on all ends. And I'm glad that you made sure that she was fully terrified and that her room would not protect her. So thank you for sharing. All right, I think that's all we have for table topics today. Everybody, that was a lot of spooky stories, and hopefully that really got everybody into the Halloween mood. Something fun to look forward to. So thank you, everyone. So I think next up, Sean will most likely post the link where we can vote. Yeah, it looks like Sean already did. So I encourage everybody to check out that link and vote on your favorite table topic speaker tonight. Thanks, Sean. All right.
Colleen, great job on table topics there. Yeah, we're getting into the spirit of Halloween. As I said, next week we've got our Halloween theme. So all those great gifts that I saw on the Sport Channel, hold on to those. For those of you who didn't get a chance to speak tonight, you're going to have next week as well. I'm sure we're going to have a spooky theme as well. So you'll get another chance to do it then. With that said, though, let's turn it over to our roles to figure out our timer and grammarian counts for the evening. And I think the first person to go to is our timer. Asantie, are you there by chance?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, good night, everyone.
Okay. Let me get you on screen real quick if I can just find you. I just had you and I lost you. There you are. Okay, Asantie, why don't you take it away?
Hi, good night, everyone. I just want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed both the speeches and the table topic. Such a good meeting today. Devika, your speech was really, really, really good. You took 4 minutes, 25 seconds on your speech, and Rob took 3 minutes, 20 seconds with his evaluation. Sean, very inspiring what you said today, and I think you brought awareness to a lot of us here. 4 minutes and 10 seconds was your speech. Rob, your table topic story was 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Alex was also 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Jeneil, you were 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Jorge, you were 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Leah, you were 2 minutes, 25 seconds. D, you were 2 minutes flat. Amy, you were
Bingo!
2 minutes, 30 seconds. Tiana, you were 1 minute, 40 seconds. And Trey, you were 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Thank you so much for your awesome stories, guys.
Thank you, Asantie. Great job. And we have Alex, who's our grammarian. Alex, you want to give our grammarian count from the evening?
Certainly, thank you so much. I was dutifully sending things also over to Kaylee. So as for myself, I don't know how many uhs or ahs I used. I'll have to look at the tape later. Amy started with so, which is all right, but many people say don't start with a conjunction. Used one ah. Annie, Asantie, didn't really hear anything. Kaylee, one thing that I noticed, you used the word uncomfortableness. I believe the word is discomfort. a point. And two, Siobhan didn't hear anything. Colleen, more than 5, 4 and 1 right, which is all right, I guess, but I just noticed it. D, the only thing I noticed about you is adjust. Just is probably not a problem, but if we pepper or salt our words with our verbs with too many adverbs, that can be an issue. So that was the only thing that I noticed there. Devika used the word of the day, and I didn't notice many fillers. Alicio, Freddie, Henry, I noticed 5 Jeneil, 1 2 1 or something, and you did use the word of the day. Jorge, you used 3 and 2 like. Leah, not many filters. Congratulations. I was very impressed by your compelling speech. Rob, I did not notice many fillers this time, but I did notice that you like to use strings of conjunctions. You'll start with a sentence, and then you'll add an and then you'll add an and. If you could look at that and just end and with a pause, that could help. Sean, didn't notice many. Tiana, a couple of so. Trey, no fillers. And also I'd like to commend you for a great, rich vocabulary. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And that's going to wrap up another edition, our 30th edition of New Voice Live. I have to echo everybody's sentiment. I think this is the best show we've put on ever. It was really, for the most part, pretty clean. A lot of interesting stories, a lot of fun senses of humor. So let's keep the momentum going. I think next week is the real show that we've been working up to. It's our holiday special. It's something that we're going to try to promote again as a fun way to bring in an audience. So if you have any friends, feel free to bring them along. I don't know, we have to talk about the leadership team, whether we're going to do the traditional meeting. I know for sure there's going to be a table topics, but for those of you who've just joined, I'm going to urge you guys to sign up for speeches. And again, if it's not next week for the Halloween special, our calendar goes out 3 or 4 weeks in advance. So we want you guys to sign up for those speeches, get them in the books, sign up for roles. Ideally, we get to be a perfect show when we know exactly what's going to happen prior to the show happening. So that requires you guys to sign up for us. And don't forget to share the word. We're going to be kind of another semi-open house for our Halloween special. So if you have any friends that you know of, bring them along. With that said, we'll wrap it up. We have our traditional after hours for anyone that wants to sit around and chew the fat for a little bit, have any questions about membership and all the other stuff we've got going on. So feel free to stick around for that. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next Friday. Great show, everyone. See you next week.